Hey guys, Kuraan Jones here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here is another comic book review for you. Today we're going to be reviewing Justice League / Power Rangers, both issues 1 and 2. I'm going to put both of those together just because issue 1's been out for a while, and this is my first time actually giving my thoughts on it. And since number 2 just recently came out, I thought it'd be fun just to kind of touch on key components and key moments within both issues. So basically for issue number 1, we see how the Power Rangers came into the DC universe. Alpha was missing from the command center. Zordon sent Alpha out to do some stuff, and Alpha was missing, and the Rangers went out looking for him, and they found an Alpha, not the Alpha, but they found Alpha, and they Zach brought Alpha back to the command center, and it turned out to be some type of decoy, and the fake Alpha exploded within the command center, and which was kind of a trap set by Lord Zed. And Lord Zed was able to enter into the command center, obviously trying to destroy Zordon and the Power Rangers, and Zach, in the heat of the moment, trying to fight off Putties and Lord Zed, ended up teleporting out of the command center with Lord Zed, so he even said within the comic, he was like, I don't have to defeat you, I just have to teleport you out of here. And so with that, because of that big explosion, there was something that kind of went wrong with the teleportation in the midst of that, and that caused for Zach and Lord Zed to be teleported somewhat, obviously in a different dimension, and that's what leads us into the DC universe. So Zach, and Lord Zed are now in the world of the DC characters. And right off the bat in that first issue, it's really fun because we get to see Zach, face to face with Batman, and Batman is, intimidating. He's this dark, gruesome character, and Zach, thinks he's a monster. At first, one of Zed's monsters, and they kind of duke it out and fight, and Batman can kind of tell that, this kid must be delusional. He doesn't, he's talking as if, he's from a different place. Definitely doesn't seem like he's in the right mindset. So, Batman could definitely tell that from the moment that he met Zach, the Black Ranger. And then, traveling on into the rest of the issue, the rest of the Rangers end up coming in, to aid Zach and bring him back home. And then they kind of meet more of the other Justice League members. And the one moment is really fun. Batman, he calls up Flash, obviously, and then that moment when we see Flash first make his appearance, it's really cool because the Rangers, they all have their weapons in hand, and then the next moment their weapons are gone, and we see Flash make his debut in this comic, which was really cool to see that as well. And continuing on, they're kind of dueling out, in confusion. Nobody really knows what side they're on, and it's kind of, you can see that both sides are a little confused as to what's happening. The Rangers, they don't really know who these other heroes are or these characters, and the Justice League, the Justice League folks, they're not really sure what these Power Rangers are, and what are these dinosaur Zords that just appeared in their town. So it definitely a fun issue, in seeing two different universes coming together. I think it's just awesome to talk about number 1, because I think that is definitely something that is historic for comic books, is when we have those crossovers that happen. That's something that we can all look back on years from now and just be astonished at, to say, man, that actually happened, with two awesome brands coming together. I think it's just really cool to see, nonetheless. And so, following into issue number 2, is where we kind of get to see the Rangers duel off, with, some of the Justice League members. They're kind of fighting, and There's even moments where, they're fighting off Green Lantern and they bring in their Zords, and eventually, Superman, steps in, and, he kind of attests that, hey, these guys are the good guys. Let's calm down for a second, figure out exactly what their intentions are. And, the Pink Ranger, she tells the same thing to Jason, the Red Ranger, saying that, hey, these Justice League folks, they're actually, good guys. We should probably just sit down and talk with them. And she's like tied up by Wonder Woman's, rope, which is a really cool scene to see. And so, the Rangers, they explain what happened. They explain that their command center was attacked back in their universe, in their world, and that their friend Zach teleported, to this world, and they came back, to bring him back home. And Zach apologized once again, and it's really fun. And in a certain moment, even the Black Ranger, he goes up to Batman. He's like, "Why don't you smile? I don't understand, like, why you aren't smiling." And some of the other characters, they can even attest and say, well, if I didn't know Batman, personally, I would probably, think he was a bad guy as well, just because of his demeanor. He's always the brute and kind of the one who intimidates, those who are around him. So, right, as I'm reading this issue, I realize there's those moments of humor, which I think are so cool to have with this many characters, kind of being on the page. It's fun to see the little snippets of humor that we can get, and I thought that was enjoyable as well. And so the Rangers explain, Zach, he says, hey, this is my fault, why he teleported here, but they can't leave because, Lord Zed, one of their greatest enemies, also teleported here with Zach, and they need to take care of that. And so they explain that to the Justice League. And so at the end of this issue, we see that Lord Zed, he teleported into this world with Zach as well. And Lord Zed didn't just teleport into Kansas or some, nice place that exists in the world. Nope, he teleported into the world of Brainiac, which is one of Superman's villains, a DC villain, but mainly, predominantly to Superman. And in this little glass, like, small world is where Lord Zed teleported into, which Brainiac controls. And Lord Zed, enlarges himself and breaks out of the containment, and then, meets face to face with Brainiac. And then they converse, and Brainiac is astonished at, his Lord Zed's capabilities. And so, obviously, two evil masterminds coming together, they start talking about how they can both aid each other in, their world domination. And does it have to be from their own worlds? And so I'm assuming where the next issue or issues will be going to is that Brainiac possibly somehow will be traveling into the Power Rangers world. That's what I'm assuming will happen. And Lord Zed, will kind of do some damage in the DC universe. Which it kind of seems like that's what's, happening based on the conversation between Lord Zed and Brainiac. We kind of get that off the bat as we, read through issue number 2. And so, yes, I'm definitely, digging this issue number 2. I thought it was a great read. And even just looking at, just some of the artwork, it's fun to see, like I said, that historic moment where, two universes come together. I think that is just an awesome thing and just fun to see. And I'm enjoying the reading of it as well. I don't find it dry. I don't find it boring. I find it interesting. There is one thing I do wonder is the timeline with all of this. And that happens with a lot of comics. I mean, sometimes, stories are just, we have a story for the sake of it, and the timeline sometimes isn't always clear. Like, I struggle with that with a lot of the Spider-Man comics that I read. And particularly with this one, because I read the other Power Ranger comic books, I'm wondering, like, where does this, Justice League / Power Rangers, comic, take place within the timeline of what's happening with the other issues that I'm reading? Or is it just like, hey, it's in that same timeline, but it's just its own story and you don't have to worry too much about it? I don't know. So if you guys know something about that more than what I know, comment and let me know. But nonetheless, that's something that I guess that happens frequently with comics, is that we'll get a story or a series that will happen separately from a current story that's happening within comics with a particular brand. And that's just something to be mindful of when you're reading this, is that there is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, aside from just the Power Rangers and Justice League crossover that's happening currently. But great stuff. I'm enjoying the read. I'm enjoying, seeing all these characters being on the page together. It is definitely fun. One thing that did catch my eye too, and a couple things, Lord Zed, you definitely see that he's probably doing some. He's definitely behind the destruction that's happening near the end of issue number 2, because we see like these giant octopus-like alien creatures all over the world, and then Superman, like, he calls in everybody in the Justice League, and he's like, yes, we need everyone to be on the fort right now, defending the world, because there's these giant octopus monsters literally like everywhere in the world. So he's calling on all the members of the Justice League. And then at the end of it, Batman, he's talking to the Rangers and he's like, you guys did this. And Zach, he and the rest of the Rangers are like, hey, this is what we do. We fight off these guys. And so, they make it known like, hey, we are the heroes. This is our responsibility as well. And so I'm assuming going forward, we'll definitely be able to see the team up here very soon within the next issues, which will be extravagant. I cannot wait to see them fight off giant monsters together. And then when you stroll over to the very end, of this comic, we see for the cover the Justice League, they seem to be attacking the Megazord. So for issue number 3, which will be coming out in March 8th, 2017, it definitely seems like things aren't going accordingly to how I'm predicting necessarily. I don't know if they're necessarily going to team up, or will they be fighting each other more in this next issue. That's what it looks like to me. So it looks like all the Justice League members are attacking the Megazord. And so, yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen, guys. I don't know. So, hey, if you've read both of these issues, comment on this video. Let me know. Give me your thoughts. Do you enjoy this crossover? Are you, excited about DC and Power Rangers, teaming up and fighting against each other? Share your thoughts, guys. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to stay in touch and to support, as I always have new content releasing every Saturday morning. And also make sure you guys like this video and share it out on your social media platforms. That would be most amazing of you, and I would appreciate it so much. Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Also, I just wanted to touch on this for the Power Ranger comics. There's also at the end, a lot of comic books do this, where they have an extra feature or an add-on to their comic. And so for the Power Ranger comic books, they also have this Bulk and Skull story that's been going on, which is very comedic, obviously, with those two characters. And I didn't mention that in the last review that I did, but just wanted to give light to that's also an additional thing with the Power Ranger comic books by Boom Studios, is they have that after most of the issues, where you can kind of get that comedic story of Bulk and Skull. So just wanted to throw that in there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, peace.